All right, real quick while I have a minute, just got out, ate my burger, did my thing. We'll throw a couple of sidewinders down Paris Island, see what happens. Because they're the ones. That's the one you gotta do, by the way. You could go all the other ones, but if you don't have the respect for it, you will never understand why you gotta start there. They don't have it, but they have it. They want to give it to them. It's all fun and games. Army, yeah, the Marine showed up. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Obviously, that's what I want to have in there. And you have to be able to attack that. What in the system says that they might lose that? Obviously, dictators and all this other stuff, you want to get them on camera. It's like, go ahead. This is CNN. Explain yourself. This should be science, right? This should science. Pavlovian dogs, two-headed brain neurosurgery. That's good physics. I'm glad you went there. They're obviously testing and blowing up. I mean, for what it is a very much more controlled place and a very tight universe. So, with that being said, but obviously we talk about the measurements, it's all in the physics lab and everything like that. And it's like, I want to give them it a bit. It's like, all bullshit aside, I know the reserves or the guard, they're pumping out that 20K for college. The reason these other ones don't do that necessarily should be the college class in there. And that's one thing I really do appreciate about that kind of whole nature. I don't know if it to be true. I really don't know how much of the physics some of these guys might have learned out of there. I can only test what I see on the floor from the small case group that you have. And that's where it kind of pisses me off on the outside. It's like, well, what the fuck is it, G? Where is it? You're telling me? So they might be all high-ranking things like now, and that's awesome. That's great. I'm glad that educational gap from the prison system, where it's like, well, it's smarter to arrest them all and do it and have that be on your number. Oh, go ahead, keep tweeting. Let me hear it. And because later on it's like, man, if you could just keep that mindset going, if you could just keep that system going, well, that's the nature of it. Everybody has this free will problem. Everyone's like, well, I want to do all this other thing. Well, and it's the inconsiderate nature when somebody looks at you like that makes you want to go, well, look, you got beef with me, take it up with Paris Island. Take it up with your senator. Put a few points on their desk. And you get a lot of these guys. You got the economics, you got the stock game. I'm sitting on a lot of treasure. Let's just call it like should be seen. Those kinds of economics give you huge time advantages in the classroom. You're practiced, you're tested. Obviously not with the fundamentals of whatever MSO group you got. You could do heat vex from here, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the military generators that you're going to use to conduct the airflow and engineer core to suck out the vacuum pressure of that hospital you're building. Essentially, that becomes the stone mill, doesn't it? It's a triage factory to dollar bills and survival over a time industry. And it's good to have a business that works well with that. The result should. And you have to take consideration statistic analysis, and it definitely does. We're not underselling the fact that it definitely does. And of the small group, and I want to say this like this, they might be a huge group, it's a quantum object, but you have to look at this at the 15% of the 83 on the ASVAB. Amongst the 15% of the top, there's still 15% of them. So it cuts down at most down to the level of who's doing what job and why, and the chemistry of the steric reaction and composition. Because these are not just elements; they're components. They're compounds and so on and so forth. Comp B. This is the same kind of energy that is in that chemical reaction, just in a very specific physics one here. I hope so. That's what I want. It's like, man, that's where I want to hear. That's the stuff I like to be hearing, and lets me know where to point people when they want this information, or like how to head off the books. What is actually fucking science around here that everybody can agree with is one thing. This book, that's fine. It better be every fucking part of it, not something out of this other one and this other one and this other one. Make the new one, go ahead and vote on. If there's problems on the board for what today is, make a new one, and then make a fucking vote for it. Because you don't need any of that. We could have done that as our group on Facebook and militia. What is physics in here? I don't care about college. Don't care about what the military's. When we talk about what the steps are in physics here, from now on, this is what you're going to use. You can't get away from a ball. You cannot get away from a box. You will never escape the singularity, and therefore the distance of the horizon problem or Epson sphere of where this light starts to fall away and start to quantumly break down. The physics behind this will no longer reach a positive gain after the causal level on this. And so you get a lot of black hole scientists, a lot of fight out there. It's what we say we fight for on this, and then you never see it in the workforce. Love the work program. Love the house building crew, everything like that, and then they just move out, and there's nothing to stabilize that region. No person to realize, like, this is not just stock, this is a 401k of that portfolio for you, plus you'll do that on the floor. The reason, again, you just can't just go with everybody throwing, you have no idea what you're putting money into. The thing that they could buy, that you saw a commercial for, and then they have so much money they don't know what to do with it all. Some guy with an HTT fucking programming bit rolls into there with this skill you always see on the internet. Oh, you don't need some fancy bullshit in eBay. What they're doing is dumping off all that extra money onto a person like that and absolutely fucking hammer fucking the workers. You know, it's good that you can head off that one thing that does this divided load for the business, but when your paycheck starts to offset that in a bunch of ways, I'm going to take you to the war. I'm going to take you to the house, and if you can't fucking perform down here like that, then you ain't worth it. I don't care what skill it is, especially if you're going to about to fucking spout off the lips about your fucking day plan model of your home class when you come in here and do this. It's supposed to fucking teach me on that. And get your ass on that floor at the deck. So I'm going through that all right now. You have tax models. You have all these people. If we can keep it stable enough for long enough, and that's where the risk comes in. Faith and belief all in there. Prophecies and all this other stuff. Vishnu coming at you with all these handouts. Like every point of that finger. But in there, you could say, if we stabilize this long enough, we could cut out taxes on this. We could cut out the insurance company on this. We could cut out anybody who's trying to stick their finger in here, OSHA, MSHA, anybody else as a paramilitary unit underneath gravity. So that's what, because it's the same thing over there. It's literally the same thing in OSHA House. It's literally the same thing when the Marine units come in, except for one was locked down as a stonemason unit, and somebody usually comes in, hey, that's not all the problems. Send in the military. They do all of those aspects on that checklist for what that does, and that's what's supposed to stabilize, because at the end of it, it will be the integration of that new calculus, especially if they want to maintain the original geometric structure of that building. And you might have to change things. You might have to shut this down, clear everything off the floor, and make new, instead of like, oh, well, I want all this shut, but I'm not willing to shut down. Because it's little shit like that. Fight or flight. You actually have to do the extra work on that stuff. It never stopped for anybody. I've listened to generals. I study the drill sergeant. Now, while I do hear that quite frequently in this forum from there, it's hard when you guys can't fucking open your doors. And it really questions your recruiters. It really questions your output. Too smart, not smart enough. If not smart enough, boy, I want to see what you got packing. If he is smart enough or too smart for the standard, and you go, well, wouldn't you want to put that in your population to increase your what? That's a good resource. NCOs and officers. How many times I've been to your desk? How many times have I picked you guys up on that, recruiters? How many recruiters do I have on my Facebook page right now? How many? How many do I add constantly into this on a normal ratio? None of you? Not fucking one of you called this in for potentially a Homeland Security threat? I don't know, you crash a guy's got all this kind of shit. Somebody had to do a suicide watch backlog investigation on this guy. You didn't know from then? You didn't say a damn word to him. Yeah, and that's why it's not just the Paris Island. We're talking about Town Court in Hancock. We're talking about Sheriffs, we're talking about those guys. I have nothing wrong with Peterson and these other guys, but you have to look. Especially if I had this shit going on with Charlie lately. You know, it's not necessarily that I want you just guys to run around and do all this. You're supposed to backlog this. I'd look at the play here. Who's your Mason? How you guys discipline in this? Do you really need the prison system if you got the worker function that does it and can fall back on a secondary like a prison because it's kicking too hard? We tried the right way. We knew it was coming. Most of them do. They have guns and locked up and shit everything anyways. Why don't you just try a phone call? Would like you to come here. No. Fucking no. Fuck you. Fuck your hat. Fuck everything else. Fuck your mama. Fuck everything. All right. You want to try this, and maybe we dust this shit off. If you bust your ass, you pay attention for a little while here, it might show you some of those things. Take a little bit of the criticism in here. This is a paycheck. This is one of those spots, especially in those mills. You know I got Veer in there this morning today. Take it easy. You don't need to go work all out today. We don't have that much rock. You know, I burn it all done and sit on that saw and wait for a catch to come off, but I still don't ever drop. You know, it's sweeping, it's pushing mud out of the way, fine. And like I said, that's the benefits. You know, that's the nature of having a head time like that on a day. We already got the money load for the day done. Whatever it makes for the 8-hour day is what that differential is. If I want to burn through it on the front end, it's more consistent. It's an even pattern for burning. It makes it look a little tighter than me just doing the same number of rock that I normally have done before, but just stretching that out, adding more heat in that room, just more bites deeper into the face of that rock. And so hopefully the simile here, it won't be, it's not that there's there's a specific target for me in there. And like, they know what I'm doing. Catch you on the next one.